Hello and welcome, my name's Richard Clark, this is The Healing Way, and on this video I will be talking about oils and vitality. I just finished a video yesterday talking about oils and healing with energy step 3, and while I was talking about it I was thinking about vitality, and I was thinking about the recovery of vitality that's happened on a person I'm working on at the moment. And it slowly grew, the idea slowly grew within me while I was doing the video and afterwards, that this whole thing of vitality, human vitality, has been vastly overlooked. And the more I looked at it, the more it was just a puzzle. Where does it come from? What's its function? What's it made up of? How can we regenerate it? What's it do? And what's its relationship to humans? We all have it to a greater or lesser degree, and having used the oil technique, healing with energy step 3, on the person I'm working with, the recovery of vitality, as opposed to strength or just anything else, you can see there's a vital aspect returning to her, was completely unexpected. And that posed the question, why should this vitality come from oils? There can't be an evolved process whereby we derive vitality from oils, I wouldn't have thought. It seems to me that vitality comes from a combination of sun and some other factor. The sun isn't enough, and food isn't enough. It might be there's something in the food, maybe oil in the food, but none of this seems right. Now the interesting thing is, what caught my attention was, after looking at mind and posting quite a few videos on mind and getting a perception of mind as a... The word's tricky. It's not an energy, it's not a power. It exists and things come out of it, but you can't see anything working within it. Things just appear. This is to my perception. Mind is another phenomena, really. I've discussed all this on other videos, so there's no need to go over that again. But in relationship to vitality, vitality is like counterpart to mind. It's a different, again, the words energy, it's not an energy, it's not a power, but it's different in that sense. Mind and vitality are virtually the same. Now mind is for the brain, and so the brain can explore, and vitality, appears to me, is another construct of the brain for the body. And what I'm thinking is, mind is made up of the 4 forces of nature, or the 5 forces as we know now, or any other forces that get added on in the future. It's made up of these forces or interactions in nature. It's a deliberate construct of the brain that, it seems to me, in order to give it its individuality, one of the forces comes forward, dominates, takes over, controls, is in the foreground. So it is like the master force, or the master interaction, and that gives the whole thing its character. That's what makes mind. The fact that there aren't 4 or 5 of equal measure, 4 interactions of equal measure, all coordinated. There is one. They're all coordinated, but one stands out. And it's that makes mind what it is. My suspicion is the one that stands forward with mind is gravity. It's a hard one to call because, as I've said before, I don't actually see gravity with perception, but that is my feeling. So it's got a counterpart now, vitality in the body. And this is a similar construct. It's a similar kind of arrangement, it seems to me, and it's a product of brain for the body. And again, it seems that one of the forces or interactions that make it up is in the foreground, stands forward, and this is what makes vitality vitality, and this is what separates it from mind. And the one that stands forward, I think, is the oil force, as I'm using it, which is the weak interaction, energy as it radiates, and that makes a lot of sense to me, because yes, I can see this vitality, and vitality is full of radiant energy. When a person has radiant energy, we all know it, we all see it. And it seems to me that it is a component of sun. Everything comes from sun anyway, but this is more like a direct connection with the sun, sunlight. Okay. So it seems that one of them stands forward. Now, because there's 4 or 5 interactions now, forces of nature, it seems to me I'm going to keep finding each one. Each one has its own domain. Each interaction has its own area that it stands forward in. It stands forward in. Where it is in control, or it's the dominant interaction. Right, now there's 2 things I want to talk about. One is what the other interactions are and what happens when they all come together, which is a personal interest of mine. I've never looked at it in this way, but the unification of the human being is a personal interest of mine. And the other thing I want to look at is the way vitality has just more or less disappeared in society. Certainly the society that I live in, the UK, probably Europe, probably worldwide, we are losing vitality very quickly. Now this is interesting, because it came as a surprise to me to start to realise this, because I've studied human beings and energy all my adult life. You know, it's like 40 years I've looked at this, and I've never seen this one. Yeah. Because we are all the same, if we've all got a very low level of vitality, that is the standard. Yeah. Until someone comes along and they're up there, we don't realise where we are, but we are really as low as it gets. People are washed out. They have no vitality, they have no enthusiasm, there's very little desire beyond basic survival now. We earn a living, full stop. This isn't to condemn people. What I'm trying to say is to illustrate the loss of vitality, this tremendously important quality that is essential to human beings. But it seems that vitality can be restored from the oils, use of the oils as used by step 3, healing with energy step 3. I'm not talking about anything else. Step 3. It's no good drinking the oil, rubbing the oil in, whatever else, putting it on the mantelpiece and worshipping it. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is using it the way I've been explaining in healing with energy step 3. I mean, the loss of vitality is very noticeable with people who are ill, especially when they've suffered long-term chronic conditions over years, because obviously their vitality has gone down, and we associate that with the illness. But as I say, using the oils, power oils, and again the thought comes to mind that the oils are yellow by and large. They are yellow. The power oils are, the linseed oil, the olive oil, the flaxseed oil, they're all a heavy yellow, and that implies sunlight. That implies the energy of the sun. Especially the flax oil. I think the flaxseed oil is very good for restoring vitality. Why using the oils in the way I'm using them, as I've said in a previous video, miniature suns, perhaps that sets up the conditions. Perhaps having them close to the body, it makes it a very strong condition so that the oil is radiating and passing on the sun's energy that the plant they came from absorbed while they were alive. Well, while the oil was still in the plant, let's put it that way. I think the oils are still alive. There is still a low level energy of life about them, which is probably quite important. That is an aspect of vitality. So yeah, that's possibly why it's recovering, because we are creating, with Healing with Energy Step 3, we are creating, amongst other things, the action of the sun on the planet. But we're doing it in a much more localised way. The oil in the cotton pads is like a miniature sun radiating energy. It's giving up the energy that it absorbed while it was in the plant. So that's nice. I like that. That is a nice bonus, a nice way of looking at it. Yeah, I like that. I get the feeling I'm going to be talking a lot more about this vitality, because I ended up doing this with Mind. I started with one video and I think I posted, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the end. Right, so going back to the other point, 5 forces or interactions in nature. Mind can be looked at as the product of one of these, one aspect of these forces unifying. Vitality can be seen as another aspect of these forces unifying. As I said just now, in each one there seems to be an individual force that's stepped up forwards and taken over, so that it makes mind and it makes vitality what it is. That leaves 3. That leaves the strong effect, electromagnetism, and the Higgs field, and any others that we come across. Now, my own personal interest, one of my interests, is the unification of the individual. When all the elements within, all the different parts of us within, come together. It was always my view from the start that we were full of too many divisions, too many barriers, and the reason why we were divided within ourselves was simply because of all these barriers. And this is the view of a lot of people who are into this kind of thing. They seem to say that, well, if the barriers are removed or taken away, if we can just drop the barriers, remove the barriers, get rid of the division, the things inside naturally will harmonise, and then you get a lot of methods and practices growing up around this. It always puzzled me that we've been, every so often somebody turns up, a holy man or a guru or a saint or a master, a saviour, a Buddha, there's a long list. Somebody turns up who says, no, you're not doing it right, you got it all wrong, gives out a set of rules, and we've all got to live by that. And it's always puzzled me that nobody ever has achieved whatever it is they're talking about. You know, if you talk about nirvana, heaven, paradise, whatever it is, who's got it? You know, very few of us. So it seemed to me that there's a problem. I think what started me down the healing road years ago was that I started to see that there was blockages within us that were not of our own making. There was problems and everything else that needed to be removed. Before you can start looking at unification of the human, you first of all got to get the human well. And that is, like, for me, the starting point. Let's see what we can do with illness and these harmful conditions, and see what happens if these conditions can be removed. See what the person is then. This, I think I said in an earlier video where I was saying that my goal was for people to be free of influence. Yeah, not just outside, not just so we're not bullied when we go to the shops, or you know, the government's not on our backs all the time, but inside. Inside we're free of influence. There's no pain inside, there's no pressure, there's no feeling we have to conform or imitate, obey, join in, whatever it is. It doesn't mean to say we all become anarchists, because it seems to me a true human being has never been seen. We're all broken up, we're all fragmented, we're all in pain, we're all suffering in one way or another, and we create the society from this condition. And when society isn't right, or it starts falling apart, disintegrating, we're surprised. Well, it shouldn't be. It's a reflection of us. We're broken up. Society is not a good one. Having said that, it's not that bad. It has got its benefits. We have schools, we have hospitals. This isn't a criticism of society. I don't want to put myself in a position of judging or condemning or criticising. What I'm trying to do is illustrate the situation as I see it. Yeah. So, going back a bit, just to say, it's the healing that I'm interested in, and the relieving of the suffering. That is where I am at the moment. If it leads on to something better, that's great. Maybe it will happen in my lifetime, I don't think so, but maybe it might. But my own personal, I don't know if goal's the right word, but my own personal study is to try and, not try, but for the individual human being to unify. Yeah? Because I think that is a much stronger state. Stronger in the sense of, not strong as in denial type strong, but a much more resilient state. Much more able to deal with everything. And it'd be interesting to see what that person does, and what that person is capable of. Male or female, I don't think makes any odds. Anyone's capable of this. Nobody, if you're born a woman, you have to have a certain way, or you're born a man, you need a different way. I don't think that applies at all. I think pretty much we all have to deal with the same problems in one way or another. Okay, strayed a bit from the point there. Vitality, so vitality comes back. Vitality starts to recover, and with that comes enthusiasm, joy, love, the feeling for life, and then there's also this speaking out against injustice, what's wrong, what shouldn't be. Yeah, the fire and the blood at seeing people suffer. Genuine anger at injustice. Yeah, maybe those feelings they talk about them as being negative, but who can look at people suffering and not feel angry? You know, or you look at someone in pain and not feel the pain. Who can do that? Unless you're in a very poor place yourself. You know, and by feel it, I mean feel it in a sympathetic way. There's I don't mean to say if someone's in agony you join in. What I'm saying is you actually have a genuine sympathy and understanding for what that person's going through, because it's things like that motivate us. You know, it motivates us. I think so. Okay, good. Well, it's a good video for me. It's cleared a lot of things in my head. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. We'll probably never meet, but I just want you to say I've got gratitude for you listening to my videos, taking an interest in my work, and trying to understand what I'm on about. I know it's not easy. Thanks again anyway, appreciate it. See you on the next one.